We're going to start on our backs today, so just pop your legs around and come down onto your backs. You've only got one back, haven't you? Onto your back. Lowering yourself down mindfully. And just to start with a little bit of that flossing, that loosening up, we're going to take our knees up towards our head. Just let your hands slip up to your knees here. And then literally like you're just having a little massage on your booty, just move gently and very mindfully your knees a little to the right and a little to the left. Take the breath with you. If you're familiar with your ujjayi breath, where you constrict the throat, you can use that. And now make some circles with the knees, keeping the breath. And the other way. Lovely feeling of your back on your mat, that sensation of you connecting to the earth. And come back to stationary position. Now, when we inhale, I want you to bring your head, neck and shoulders towards your knees as you bring your knees a little bit towards your forehead. So we're going to inhale and come up. And one more. And now we're going to do the opposite, and we're going to exhale as we come up. So inhale and exhale. And one more, inhale and exhale. And lower the feet. Now maybe you can feel a difference between the inhaling and exhaling, or maybe you can't at the moment. Generally, when we do an inversion, when we fold, we normally exhale because obviously we are folding over. But there will be times in your yoga asanas when you do end up inhaling sometimes, and it's not going to be the end of the world. But maybe you can feel a little bit the difference, and you could go and check that out for yourself, how it feels different on the inhalations and exhalations. Now taking the arms out to the side, taking the feet a little further apart than your hips, and we're going to allow the knees to drop to the right as we exhale, and we're going to look to the left. So let's take an inhale and exhale, drop the knees to your right and look to your left. This is great for the vagus nerve. It's great for stimulating that nerve that comes from the gut, through the organs, up to your neck, to your ears, to your brain. And inhale, come back to neutral. Take another lovely, nourishing breath in. And exhale, let the knees drop to the left and take your head and your ear to the right. And feel that twist through the spine, opening up through your wings, the stretch in your head and neck, and the stretch through your right hip. And inhale to come back. And just take the knees once more up and cradle them. And we're going to cross over our heels and take our feet if they're available to us. If not, you can take your knees, and we're going to gently rock backwards and forwards on the mat. So stimulating here just a little bit. So bringing the feet up and forward and back, and just feel what it's like on your back and your spine to come through. You're massaging, you're flossing out all these internal bits that we don't want to stagnate. We want movement, and that's how we get health and we get stability, by having that lovely sensation and connection with our body. And just coming up to a seated position here, take your right hand to your left knee, and as you inhale, stretch up and just let the left hand come back behind you. And here we have a twist through the spine, an opening and bringing the shoulder back. Lift the chin a little, raise the corners of your mouth and stretch upwards. And enjoy that flossing, that movement through your body, and come back to central position again. And now take the opposite hand to the opposite knee, so left to right knee. Inhale and exhale, twist, drop the hand behind you. Let your thighs become heavy, seat bones heavy. Looking over your shoulder. And feel that breath through your body, that nourishing breath, as we come back to center. Okay, now let's take our feet around and come onto all fours. And you may be familiar with your flat back position here, and most of you will probably be familiar with cat-cow, where we drop the belly and then round the spine. But we're going to do a little bit of a variation, so we're going to do this with some waves. So we're going to be moving backwards towards our heels with our bottom. So we're not going to remain in the normal upright all fours position. And this is, again, I want to encourage the movement. Sometimes we can be very stuck in yoga, or it can feel a little rigid, and actually today's purpose is to find that movement. So let's just start by just moving your hips around in some circles here, just gently feeling out. I mean, what does that feel like as you take your hips a little bit closer to your heels? And then maybe try the other way. Is there any difference in this? You get a little bit freaky and drop your hands down a little. Your elbows down a little, not your hands. And what does that feel like to move through your hips? We had a lot of emotion in our hips. And come back to a flat back position. So we're going to inhale here, and we're going to drop the belly. So that would be your normal start of your cat-cow. So inhale, drop the belly. Open the chest and chin up. Now as you exhale, I want you to round your spine but bring it back, and your exhale towards your heels. Now as you inhale, lower the elbows, use your nose as if you're tracking forward in the center of your mat. As you inhale, come up, you're keeping the belly dropped. And you exhale and you round through your spine. As you exhale, come back towards your heels. Allow the elbows to drop. Inhale, follow the nose through, opening the chest, lifting the chin, dropping the belly. And exhale and rounding the spine, coming back towards your heels. And inhale, coming through, this time to a flat back position. Now we're going to do a little gate pose, so that again we can have some stretch through the side body and some movement and flossing. I'm going to turn around here so that you have a slightly better view, but you can stay on your mat in that position if you wish. So keeping your, what would be your left knee, but it's my right, in position, stretch out your right leg to the side. Now you're using your hands for support at the moment here. And here you can do 3 little tiny cat-cows. So inhaling, dropping the belly, and exhale, round the spine. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, round the spine. Feel what that is like through your hips, through your thigh. And come back to a neutral position, and slowly and mindfully coming upright. Now, once you're here, I want you to think about all the blocks being stacked one above the other, because sometimes what happens is we end up with our bottom out a little bit in this position. So think about the 3 blocks and being stacked very nicely in one line. And then we're going to mindfully drop your left hand down to the mat. And still thinking here as you stretch, it's a lovely stretch already through the side body. Again, great for flossing out through the ribs, through all your venous and arterial system and all the soft tissues. And then we're going to take the other hand out to the side and we're going to inhale and bring this arm forward and up and relax. Exhale back. And again, inhale. And this time feel that stretch through that side body. And relax and come back to a neutral position. Okay, let's swap and go to the other side. So you're going to have your right knee bent now, toes are untucked, and take your left leg to the side. Really feel that stretch. Your foot here in contact with the mat, especially the inside of that foot, but make sure that you put a little bit of weight towards the outside so that you're not dropping that ankle, so you're protecting your ankle. So slowly, slowly and very mindfully, we're going to stretch through the side of our body and come down to touch the mat. And then when you're ready, we're going to make a lovely inhale, stretching up, open the chest and taking your head and your arm and stretch up and look if you can. If that's a little difficult, it doesn't matter. Relax and release and then come again. Inhale. And opening the chest, looking up towards your hand. Feel that yummy stretch in your side body. And relax and come back to a neutral position. Okay, coming back around to face the front of your mat here. We're going to take our right knee to the center of our mat and we're going to tuck the left behind. And once we're here, very, very mindfully and gently, we're going to come back into our cow legs. Now, if you have any problems with your knees and it feels uncomfortable, then stop. And once you're here, see if you can feel those seat bones on the floor, stretching up through the spines. If you've got a little acorn on the top of your head. And we're going to take 3 breaths here. Make them delicious. Drop your shoulders back and down. And very mindfully taking your belly button a little bit towards your spine, so engaging your core as you come forward. Unhook the legs and let's go to the other side. So you're going to bring your left knee forward, tuck your right knee behind, and slowly and mindfully coming back into your cow legs. Now, depending on your hip flexibility, you may have these knees very close together. I don't have that hip flexibility, and some people won't, but it doesn't mean you cannot engage in this asana. So thinking here of the spine nice and tall, and again 3 breaths, drop the shoulders back and down, feel your seat bones. One will feel much heavier than the other because of the position of your hips and the way that this position puts your body. So let's start with an inhale. Shoulders back and down, exhale. Feel the weight in the seat bones. mindfully, belly button to spine, using your core to protect you as you come forward. And unhook your legs. We're now going to come into our first downward dog. So with a big inhale, with your toes tucked, bringing the hips up. And walk your doggy, because we want to feel into these asanas. We don't want any yoga statues, any yoga robots. So your view being between your back feet. Allow your heels to move towards the floor, but they don't have to stay there. Your little spider fingers in your hands take the weight off of your wrists by using the pads of your fingers. And when you're ready, finding some stillness for 5 breaths. And then when you're ready, prepare to lift your right leg up to the sky, 3-legged dog. Look forward between your hands and bring your right foot between your hands in front of your mat and lower your left knee down. Once you're in this position here, just want you to very gently feel backwards and forwards, a little flossing. You're not going too far, but you're stretching through this side of your inner thigh and you're moving gently over your right ankle. Look ahead and just feel that out. How does that feel in your right hip? How does that feel in your left inner thigh? Now, coming up, untuck your toes and come up here so that you are with your shoulders above your hips. Now we're going to do what's basically a little low warrior 2. So taking your hands out to the sides of your body here, hands level with your shoulders, look out over your right hand over your right knee. And while you're here, very, very gently, just a little bit of movement and fractional movement. Don't put too much stress on your body here at all. And then we're going to take what will be your right hand, my left hand. We're going to stretch up with the opposite hand and with a little bit of an incline back and coming forward, taking our hands to the front of the mat, lifting up with the back leg and coming back into downward dog. And walk out your dog. Breathe, breathe and move and feel. And coming to stillness, lifting your left leg, 3-legged dog, and coming forwards with your left foot between your hands, lower the opposite knee. And while you're here on your fingertips, just a little tiny bit of movement. Feel what it's like now with your right thigh. You can untuck the toes, feel what it's like with the toes untucked. And what's it like with your toes tucked? Feel in your body, really try and tap into what's going on here. And then when you're ready, coming upright, again above your hips, your shoulders above your hips. And then we're going to come into a very low warrior 2 here. If you want to, you can tuck the toes for more stability. And then gentle movement again, looking over towards the front, towards your bended knee. and then allowing your hand to drop down to your thigh, and a big stretch up, and maybe a little bit of bend and flexion towards the back of your mat, and allowing the hands to travel forward, taking your right knee up and bringing both legs back and dropping down to your mat. Knees wide, toes together, and let's come into an extended child's pose. And feel the hips, feel the knees, feel the stretch through your arms, through your side body. And slowly, slowly coming up, back to all fours, hop your feet to the side and come back to your cross-legged position if you are comfortable with that. Yoga practice is not about perfection, it's about exploration, it's about moving from one asana to another, being curious, feeling what it feels like. Actually, instead of concentrating on what it should look like, very much, what am I feeling in my body? At the end of even a short practice, it does stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which means you should find yourself in a much nicer place at the end of your practice. And also this mat, it's a place for you. And sometimes we don't really have a place for us, or we don't work on ourselves particularly because we might be busy with doing. But sometimes we just need to be. We are human beings, we're not human doings. And so I encourage you in your practice to feel out, to modify, to make the practice for you, to make adjustments when needed. You don't need to follow me particularly, apart from the guidance of into certain asanas. If it feels much better to come off your knees or to go onto your toes, then explore. But for now, let's just bring this lotus mudra back to our hearts, and I just want you to take one last big breath of loving kindness for yourself. Inhale. And close the hands to Anjali Mudra, to the heart. And I'm sending love, kindness and respect to you. And I hope to see you